Welcome to the Women Leaders Association podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. Be sure to tune in each week to hear an empowering message from the world's top women executives, trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and all-around fierce female leaders. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland, and I will be taking you on a deep dive of each message to equip you with the principles, strategies, and tools you need to start crushing your goals, increasing your impact, creating work-life harmony, and did I mention have more fun? Because when you love what you do it better. The Women Leaders Association is the world's largest women executives association with over 30,000 women in executive and leadership positions who are committed to the development and advancement of women in the corporate arena. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association chapter, would enjoy daily podcasts, or you desire to become a part of the Women's Mastermind group near you, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Now let's tune in for this incredible message. On today's episode, hear from Michele Phillips. Michele is president of Key Performance and author of Happiness is a Habit. As a happiness and performance expert, Michele blends neuroscience, habits, and positive psychology, offering actionable formulas for success. Welcome, Michele. Hey, welcome back to the Women Leaders Podcast. I'm so excited. Michele is with us today. Welcome, Michele.
Hello, Julianne.
I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so on accident, I'm going to say, I'm wearing my happy mama shirt and I'm talking to a happiness expert. So how cool is that?
Divine timing, we like to call it.
I know, it really is. So Michele, we got to know, how did you, because so often in entrepreneurial spaces and even in corporate spaces, right? Everybody's talking about your niche and knowing your audience. How are you I'm a happiness expert. This is what I'm doing, period, end of story. How did that journey start for you?
It started, even when I was young, I was always told I'm too loud, I talk too fast, I'm too happy, slow down. And my first job, I was walking in and the woman, every morning I would just say, good morning. And this woman said to me one day, take your pom-poms and go someplace else. And I was devastated. I was young. And then I started to tap down my own energy and my light. So that's why it's really become a brand for me. Because if anyone sets a goal, whether it be start a business, have a family, learn Spanish, the end result is I want to feel happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm hearing that more and more, especially with women. I host a conference every year and kind of our theme, our motto during the conference is shine, girl, shine. Because it's just that, right? So often bold and ambitious women are told to take it down a notch. And we're like, no. Yes. Not doing it here. And so it's so perfect that you are here on this podcast because that's who we are here as well. We totally believe in, expressing all of who we are, being loud, being bold, and it's not obnoxious. It's truth, right? We're speaking in truth and we're encouraging other people. And that's what we love about this podcast and the women that we have on it. And so I'm so excited that you're here with us today. I want to know about your book. How did you decide? Okay, one, you decided you were going to be a happiness expert, and then you're like, I'm going to write a book. Or did the book come first? How did that roll out?
No, it's been 25 years. So I always say this path chose me. I didn't really choose it. So it was an evolution. That's what I like to tell people, follow the energy. What's calling you? What's exciting you? I was doing sales training for Verizon up and down the Northeast corridor. And then I got called I went to, go to my master's program. And then I just got into sales training. And when I hit the psychology part of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So I just couldn't stop. So I got my master's. The woman in my master's class started hiring me. And I was giving seminars, to answer your question, for I don't even know how many years on the topics. And I really believed in your habits mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And now I've added financially. And people would say to me, do you have a book? Back then, do you have cassette tapes? I mean, I'm old school. And I didn't. So finally, I hired someone. I said, I need you to help me write a book. I hired this woman. She gave me, I think the book was written in 30 days because it was all here. I was doing it. I was living it. Found a publisher. So defying all the odds, like writing a book doesn't have to be hard. There are publishers out there, or nowadays self-published.
Right.
So it just one thing led to the other, and really embracing my happiness is my goal. I want everyone, because it's like, oh, what's wrong with her? She's so happy. People want to put you down, and we really embrace the negativity and we deflect others' positivity. And I want to say, let's do the happy dance, Julianne, right? You got your shirt on, let's jump up and down, let's own that piece of us.
Yes, I love that. And it's so true. We hear that misery loves company. Well, so does joy. And I'm all about some joy. And you are so correct in that matching of the energy. That's the number one compliment I get, either in person, if I'm on stage speaking, or on a podcast, right? Or people are like, oh, I just love the energy that you're bringing. I'm like, yes. And people want to match that. It's that happiness energy.
Exactly. And it's my biggest thing is teaching people that they have access to this every day, right? You don't have to wait for something good to happen in your life. Every single morning you can plug in, but you have to plug in. And a lot of us, we start our day too fast, too haphazardly, without any plan. And it's really purposefully starting your day. I have a new book coming out in the next couple of months. I call it Personal Energy Alignment. Really aligning your energy with what's important to you and your values puts you in that good space to then bring that to whatever you do during the day.
Oh, that's so good. And I think that's important for everybody to understand too. We think, and it is possible to have running energy kind of all day long. It's rare. I do have an abundance of it and I do overflow with it the majority of the day, but I know like where my capacity is at. I know when I want to start winding down and I want to enter into this, like I call it like a smooth energy, right? Where it's just this like steady flow of nighttime and getting, I have 6 kids, so I can't say relaxed, but getting into a more muted state. Whereas if I'm going to be doing podcast interviews and working with my clients and stuff like that, I'm going to do that during the part of the day where I have the most outpouring of energy. And so I love that point of, being not only conscious, right? And you're big in neuroscience, that matters. Thinking about what we're thinking about, knowing who we are, knowing what we respond to, and how we respond to other people, being aware of that energy exchange is so very important.
Oh, you're hitting on so many good points. I don't know where to start. And think about, we have 6 children. So that's a lot of energy, like pulling you in different directions. So whether it's your job pulling you in different directions, the internet, there's a million things pulling out our attention. So it's really knowing when you're in, what they call in positive psychology flow. Flow is when everything is just happening and it's a beautiful, like you and the dancer one, or you're jogging and you're in the athletes would call it the zone.
Yeah.
I want to teach people how to get into flow while you're feeding your children, while you're making their lunches, while you're writing your next program for whatever. And when you get into that flow zone, your energy is not being depleted as much. But when you sit down and do things that you don't want to do and you're dragging yourself, I have to do this. Your mindset is sucking the life out of you, literally, versus shifting the mindset, getting into flow. No matter what you're doing, we sometimes have to do things we don't like.
Right.
But when you get in flow, it's kind of like what they say. I love the saying that the cake is baked with love. Whatever energy state you're in when you're doing something is the energy that what you're doing takes on.
Yes. That is so true and so powerful. And it's something that I am trying to teach my kids, right? Like if you go into it already in a bad mood, like you're bringing that into the situation. Of course, it's not going to be as much fun, And so again, being aware of that. So how would somebody that's listening right now is like, oh, this is so good. I love all of it. Where do I start? Like, what is their step one to, let's say they've already recognized when they're kind of out of flow. What is their step one to getting back into flow?
You mentioned it earlier. It's believing that you can. It's knowing, first of all, I ask my clients, when are you in your peak state? How does it feel when you feel accomplished, when things are where they need to be, where you're just, and people go, I don't know what that feels like. Well, okay, if you don't know, if you've never been there, you can't recreate it.
Mm,
So you have to maybe dig into your past memories, or what did it feel like when things were all going your way? And
mhm.
once they know how that they can access it, because everybody can access it,
Yeah.
then I ask my clients every couple hours during the day, two questions. How am I feeling? And am I happy with my results?
Mm,
So especially, we're talking about women and leadership. We tend in our culture to just keep digging in. And when things aren't going our way, we dig a little deeper and we work a little harder and we don't take a break. And we're so out of connection with ourselves and our soul, our spirit. I mean, they call it team spirit for a reason.
yeah.
So it's knowing when you're not in that state that it's okay to step away.
Mhm.
Go outside. I always say, look up at the sky and smile because it just makes you laugh. Break that energy, the low energy cycle, so that you can replenish and start again because you get a do-over as many times as you want during the day. But the biggest thing too is not doing what everybody else is doing. You have to
So true.
be willing to be different.
Yes. Yes. And every time, if you are, I always say submission leads or yeah, suppression leads to depression, right? If we are suppressing parts of who we are to fit in, to be like other people, to do what everybody else is doing, we are depressing ourselves, right? We are putting ourselves into a spot that we are not meant to be. And so just to your point, like being one aware of that. And I love the point of going outside, like changing your atmosphere is so powerful. And there's so much science, and we won't get into all that today because I'm a brain nerd too, and I could just go all on it. But of what the sun actually does, right, to our brains. And so being able to get outside and change your state, I always thought like, am I part Superman? Because I really do feel like I get empowered when I just go and like, oh, under the sun for a few minutes, you
But
know?
what you're saying is what I want people to do. I want people to prove to themselves that they can do it. So
Yeah.
when you make that connection, wow, I go outside for 5, 10 minutes and I feel better. Now you know that's in your power to
Yeah.
repeat. And so, and what's so beautiful about life these days is there's so many examples. There's so many people living lives that are emulating what we want. So back in the day when I was working at a corporation, there was this husband and wife team that used to come in and do training workshops. And they bought somebody else's material and they came in and I used to see what we paid them. And I said to myself, that's the life I want to create. And, Wayne Dyer is an author that I, admire and love. And I liked how he worked out every day and he spent time reading and meditating. And then I read another book called Vagabonding many years ago by Ralph Potts and just making long-term travel your lifestyle. So I took components of other people's lives and crafted my life. Instead of saying, I come from kind of a blue collar family that said, go to work, get benefits, work till retire. And I had to change the script because
Yes.
it wasn't a script I was given. Love my family to no end, but I had to look for other examples to prove that I could change my script. A lot of women just kind of get in oh, I have to do this. I can't, there's no other way. And you're blocking the possibilities or the
Right.
opportunity.
Right. And you're touching on again so many points of, even the words that we're speaking, right? I have to. And we get to. We get to. Like there was a point last year where it was towards the end of the year and we live about 22 minutes away from my kid's school. And we're in, the country and driving, and it's a really boring drive the whole way. And I was like, oh, I have to take him to school. And then I was like, no, I get to. Like I get to spend that time with them. They get to decompress in the car with me on the way home and explain their day. And so I had to think through like, what would I be missing if I didn't have this 22 minutes? And reframe what I was looking at instead of just the long, boring drive. Okay, maybe I should focus on their little voices and what they're saying and how their day went, right? And it made the drive so much faster, but it also made it more enjoyable for me. And like I found that happiness factor.
And again, this is simple wisdom. You hit on it. It's refocusing and reframing. It'll help you sleep better, find love, joyfully make money, stay strong and fit. Refocusing and reframing is the key to everything in your life.
Yeah.
And when you can refocus and reframe it to your advantage, like you said, instead of being, some people are just dragging that same roadway back and forth every day versus enjoying the journey, which is so cliche.
Right.
I always say these cliches are cliche because there's deep wisdom.
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. And so, Michelle, when you are working with somebody, right, and they're coming to you and you're like, let's say they're in this position, right, where they're like, okay, I have a family that I'm trying to deal with, right? I'm air quoting if you're not watching us, but I have the family that I'm trying to deal with. I'm at work and I have that to deal with. And, it's always this like, I'm dealing with life instead of enjoying and living life. Like, what is your first kind of interaction with them and helping to adjust their perspective or offering them new perspective?
Yeah, and it's how, that's why it's so fun to have someone to bounce things back and forth with because a new set of eyes sees it differently.
Yeah.
I recently took on a client who works in a scientific laboratory and they have temporary workers that have to do very kind of mundane tasks. So the job isn't going to change, but again, how you look at the job. If these tasks aren't done properly, then it messes up the whole experiment.
Right.
So what you're doing is so important, your piece in the big picture. So with my clients, whatever they say to me, what's going on in your life? I have to deal with my kids. No, you get to, like you said, and I want people to get from the day, not through the day.
Mm,
So it's really aligning your calendar with your values so you don't feel like you're just getting through the day. And one of the biggest things I do with people is taking control of your calendar. The
true.
reason we're so exhausted is because we say yes too much. We try to jam too many things in our calendar and we're unrealistic. If you said to me, Michelle, come on down to Georgia. I'm in New York. And I say, I'll be there in an hour. That's a lie.
That's an
But
unrealistic expectation.
that's what we do on our calendar.
Right.
We go, I'm going to do this, and physically there's not enough time. So it's really saying, is what I'm doing, is what's on my, are the activities on my calendar in alignment with my values?
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. And if they're not, do I have to do them?
Right.
So really starting to own your time. There's a quote I love, busy women are boring. And I love saying that because it's kind of like a little stab in the side.
Yeah.
And it's purposeful women are powerful. Busy
Mm,
women are boring.
yeah. I love that.
If you're going someplace on purpose and you're steady and busy, that's different than just spinning your wheels for the
Mm,
sake of spinning your wheels. So really taking control of that calendar, being able to say no powerfully, and maybe not, no, I can't do it right this minute, but I could do it next week. I could do it on Thursday.
right.
And the other thing I used to do back in the day when we had paper calendars, I used to take my paper calendar and just put an X on certain days and write the word no. This
Yeah.
is my day to create, my day to be with myself, manage my finances, whatever I need to do. I'm still working,
Right.
but the calendar is really the key. And somewhere, I don't know when it became so cool to be so busy and crazy. And I'm in New York. I don't know if it's the
Right.
same in Georgia.
Yeah. And, I think for so long, women especially have been wearing busyness as that badge of honor. And then it became like a thing, right? Well, it really shouldn't be a thing. And I know we shouldn't shit on ourselves, but here we are, right? But I love that point of being purposeful is powerful because I will go into my calendar. I had a mentor one time that said, I should be able to look at your calendar and see what's most important in your life. And I was like, oh, you can see where like all the appointments and stuff are, but you don't really get to see who I am through looking at my calendar. And so now I have those times. I mean, they're color coded. I have alarm set and all of those things in my calendar. And to your point, back with the paper calendar, you put a big X. I will go through and now I will block time that just says block. And that way, no appointments can come through any, avenues that I have out there that people can book appointments on my schedule because I have to honor that part about myself. I was running where it was like bam, 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 bam. And then there I am by 2 o'clock. I haven't eaten lunch. I'm grumpy. I'm tired. I haven't gone to the bathroom. And I'm like, why? This is terrible. Like, I
And
don't want to live that way.
the good news is, you did, first of all, the acknowledgement and then realizing you're in control. The good news is I've been working in corporations my whole career. So I work with leaders. I work with leaders and their team. And I always say I only work with enlightened leaders. And they're everywhere. I'm working with another woman in September, and we're going to do a 360 survey with her folks, like with the kids and the family too. So it's not just with the workers. It's like, are you getting, are you balancing your life? Are you taking time to eat right and work out and take care of your mental, physical health? We're going to survey some of the workers and the boss, but also the spouse, the children.
Nice.
Right. And we're going to come up with this, survey, because I work with really fabulous leaders who know how important it is, especially when you're with type A personalities who want to succeed and create. And, it's still important to take that time with your family for your health. One of the things I say in my seminars are, will you survive your own success? Because if you're not taking care of your body and you're only working hard for money, then you're off balance. So
Right.
yeah, there's so many good enlightened leaders out there, and it's just such a pleasure to work with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how do people work with you, Michele? Like, how can people connect with you, even if they just want to kind of hang out in your social world? Where do they find you at?
The easiest place to go is Instagram, because it's just at keyperformance.com. My website is key2unlock, which it's KEY, the number 2, UNLOCK.com, which is a little convoluted. And Michele Phillips is a famous pop star from like the 70s. So at Key Performance is the easiest place to find me right now. And then all the links to everything else will be in my Instagram.
We'll be there. I love that. Making it easy, which also makes people a little bit happier when things are simple. I said easy, but things are simple. That for me has definitely been an indication of like my happiness meter, right? Am I functioning simply? And that's been huge for me to be like, oh wait, I don't have to. I love to do things extraordinary, right? That's just my personality. And yet I can still find so much joy and happiness in the very simple things. And so again, allowing myself to find that.
And that's that balance, right? Everything is that sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's right. You're eating a beautiful meal, but you take those last 2 bites and you're over the edge. Right. You're working out. If you work out too much, you're done. So it's like always with everything, it's finding that sweet spot, knowing when you've exceeded your limit and backing up, rest, don't quit, and start again.
Right. And that's so important. And I hope all of y'all are grasping on to just how much power that you really do have. And again, it is on purpose, right? Being purposeful is powerful. And I love that so much. So Michele, what is one last piece of advice or one last next step that you would tell the woman listening to this? And it's so inspired and still like, I don't know what to do first.
I want people to make it so easy you can't fail. I mean, once you finish listening to this podcast, I want you to just say, I am going to eat an apple every day for the next 90 days. Simple. After 90 days of eating apples, I'm going to walk around the block for the next 90 days. Next 90 days, I am going to read 50 pages a week. Whatever it is, you start to build so slowly and gradually that you feel like a winner. And when you feel like a winner, you want that feeling more, and it just keeps growing exponentially.
I know that there are so many ambitious women out there listening to this right now and like, wait, what? She just told me to go slow.
Well, because that's
so much value in that.
We try to do it all at once and then we fail.
Right.
I know this from 20 years of starting with apples and walking around. I speak from my own experience that once you get the fitness and then you get this and then everything gets into place and life becomes so easy. I always say life is full, fast, and fabulous.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, Michele, this has been a great topic. Thank you so much. Ladies, be sure to go hang out with Michele over on Instagram at Key Performance and pick up her book, Happiness Habits. Do you have it? You want to show it?
Oh, I do. And I have a new video series on this as well.
Awesome. That's so exciting. So, which I'm sure they can find via Instagram and then via your website and all of the links that we have access to these days. Michele, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it.
This has been so delightful. Thank you so much, Julia.
Wonderful. Ladies, remember your happiness is in your control. Thank you so much. If you're looking to connect with other women leaders, be sure to head to womenleaderspodcast.com. Bye for now.